Today, we're going to take a look at a company that you might not be familiar with, but they offer some fantastic 1/72 scale miniatures for some of the most unique nations and units of the Second World War. The quality is really nice, but we're going to take a better look at that in detail later on. But the company in question is a company called Numodel. They are run by a chap called Christian, what a fantastic name, might I add, and they offer a variety of different resin 1/72 scale infantry. They're obviously aimed at more of your dioramas, but they can be adapted for wargaming. So these on the screen now are obviously German, Japanese, Chinese, and then there's a few other nationalities on screen as well. Now, they primarily, as I said, aim at dioramas, but you can change them for wargaming, which we'll see later on. So make sure you stay tuned to see the painting examples that we're going to be showing at the end of the video. But here's a close-up of the sort of miniatures you're going to get. To get 1/72 scale Japanese tank drivers is pretty slim, so the fact that they've done that is a fantastic thing. So this is the Japanese sample that was sent to me. As you can tell, they're resin, but they are really nice. They clean up super easily, and actually they come pretty clean already. You can see that the actual weapons on this particular miniature, so the Type 97 LMG, is just a little bit thinner than you would expect for wargaming, but that's probably a lot more historically accurate in terms of the sizing and the scale. There's a very little bit of cleanup. You can see that there's just a little bit of excess resin that just needs to be cleaned up there. Easily done, guys. Just get a sharp Stanley knife and you'll be able to cut that away, or a pair of snippers. The detail on these figures is fantastic, and a lot of the time these resin figures, the detail is sunken into the model. What I mean by that is it's so hard to paint with like a wash, because the detail is so limited that you can't get a wash around it. This is the perfect in between. So it's not a wargaming figure where details are exaggerated. I feel like it's the perfect in between, because I didn't have many problems painting these, and I don't use a magnifying glass or anything like that. So we can see here that this chap is sitting down with his rifle. There is a little crack in the helmet there. Now, I know this can be common with some resin items. Christian is a fantastic bloke, so if you do get something like this in your pack and it's really bothering you, then don't hesitate to reach out to them. I'm sure they'll deal with it. I didn't have a problem with it. It's nothing, just a little bit of putty wouldn't fix up, and yeah, it was resolved really easily, which you'll see later on. So you can see that the quality of the actual model is really nice. There's some detail on the rifle being as small as it is, and not as exaggerated as a wargaming figure. It's pretty hard to paint, but as long as you've got a really fine brush, you can get some fantastic details on there. Then we've got this chap here. So in the previous shot, he was waving down a tank or speaking to the tank driver. My guy is going to be more like on a patrol, waving some sort of signal and that. You can see there's got a samurai sword on the back here. The resin isn't, it looks very thin, but as you can see there, by just flicking it, it wasn't breaking easily, and touch wood, none of them have broken throughout the painting process, and I am very hands-on, so it's really good that they haven't broke. We got another guy here that also looks like he's on patrol and sort of waving or ushering his men forward. Again, this guy was meant to be communicating with the tank driver, I believe. But you can see there's plenty of detail. He's got a canteen on there. He's got his rifle pouches, lots and lots of straps, which was frustrating because the Japanese had like leather straps as well as khaki straps. So you have to sort of decide where you're going to paint them. And then we've got another guy sitting down. Now, I'm not sure what this guy is actually doing. You have to refer to the picture that comes with the actual models. You could stick a rifle in his hand, you could do anything, a map or whatever you want to do for wargaming, that is. Obviously if you're making the diorama, you're going to copy the artwork that was provided. Then we got another guy again, sort of like signaling, but these are really nice poses that are going to be fantastic for wargaming, especially if you like taking some action shots of your games where you can really pose these in positions to make them look like they're sort of in the action. And then we've got the first tank driver. So this tank driver has got, or commander I should say, not driver, has got his traditional sort of Japanese helmet on, or tank helmet if that's the correct word, some sort of driving goggles. But if you're going to be chucking these in, you really don't need to paint the whole figure. You just paint from like the torso up, or even just like the belly button up if you really want to be lazy. But I painted pretty much the entire entire model for the sake of this video. So yeah, really, really nice samples here. I've got a Dragon Type 97 that I will be painting up in a future video, which these will also feature in the tank crew, obviously. My favorite one, I think, is the guy pointing. I really like that guy, but as you can see, they fit in perfectly with the Dragon Type 97, and I'm sure with the Airfix Type 97 as well, they'll fit in just fine too. So yeah, really, really nice crewman there. Fits in super nicely, proportioned really nicely. Doesn't look too big, doesn't look too small, just looks perfect for what you're wanting to use for. Again, I'm going to be using this for wargaming, but you know, for a tank you can use that as a diorama as well, so it doesn't really matter. We see this guy here sort of talking to obviously the infantry on the ground, getting an idea of where the enemy are. So this would be great for wargaming and dioramas, as I keep harping on about. So let's take a look at some painted examples. So the first painted example is the guy with the rifle, sort of telling people to slow down. Then we've got the guy with his sort of samurai sword and his bandana on, which is just so cool. And then we've got one of the tank crewmen. This is my favourite tank crewman. I love the white gloves as well, and the sort of white scarf that was coming off the bag. It's a really nice attention to detail. Then we got the other tank crewman with his goggles on and his helmet. And then we've got one of the infantry sort of ushering his patrol forward with the traditional Japanese hat on, and you can see they paint up so well. These look perfect for the wargaming table too. Look at that detail and all the straps there. Yeah, really nice. Even the guy sitting down, so this is the guy that had a bit of the cracked helmet. I don't think you can really tell. With just a little bit of cleanup and a little bit of putty, got that fixed up nicely. And then we've got another guy here with a hat on. This is the guy that sort of looks like he was having a cuppa without the cup of tea, but there's obviously a reason for that. So yeah, overall, really, really nice. Huge thank you to Christian for sending these samples out. I'm really chuffed with them. I think they've painted up super well, and they do look fantastic, the sculpts, regardless of how you've painted them. You're obviously going to paint them in different coloured uniforms too, if you don't want to do the sort of SNLF green or the jungle green that was towards the latter part of the war. Now, these are going to be featured again on Saturday as part of a painting tutorial, so if you want to see these painted up, make sure you subscribe and like the channel. Other than that, guys, I'm going to leave it here, and I will catch you at the next one.